Hi, it's Verity here from the design team and welcome back to the Wow Embossing Powder YouTube channel. Today I've got another Technique Tuesday and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be combining embossing powders with embossing paste. So this is a bit of a mixed media style card, and if you've never really done mixed media, these cards are really super easy, great to start off and dabble in mixed media and see if you like it. So I'm going to be using this Twister stencil that was designed by Marion for Wow. And I'm going to be using Altenew embossing paste. Now you can use any embossing paste. I'm going to be using a slightly different one later on and I'll explain the difference between the two. But for this one you want an opaque paste to apply through the stencil. I like to use the Make Art Station by Wendy Vecchi when I'm using my stencils. This is a magnetic metal platform that you can then secure the stencil down with the magnets over your card panel. I find this is really good at holding it. They're really strong magnets, you get 4 of them. And I find it works really well with these kind of stencils, especially when I'm doing sort of mixed media pieces. So I've got an A2 card panel here and I'm just positioning the stencil over with the sort of the centre of the twister towards the top of the panel. And I'm just using that ruler just to mask off one of the edges of the corners so I don't get so much paste over that area. I'm applying the paste over the stencil with a metal spatula. Now you can use a plastic one. It's a total preference as to what kind of a material you like to use for your spatula. And I'm just applying this all over through those holes and I'm just scraping off any excess. Now you don't need to have loads over the top, you still want to be able to see the stencil design, but make sure that you've covered it enough. And obviously the peel and the reveal is the best bit, so you can reveal your white embossing. So this looks great if you wanted a tone on tone look if you left it to dry, but we're going to step it up a notch. So the embossing powder I'm going to cover it with is Gitty's Power from Wow Embossing Powder. This was a collaboration with Alexdara Renke. This is a beautiful sort of peachy pink colour and it's a translucent powder. So what this means is that when it melts it will have a shine, but it allows the colour underneath to shine through as well. So you can either leave this to dry naturally and then heat set, or you can heat set whilst the paste is still wet. So the heat gun will not only melt the powder but it will dry the embossing paste too. And it can cause your embossing paste to bubble up and give some extra texture. So if you love texture in your card making, then obviously heat set the powder whilst the paste is still wet. If you don't really like texture, let it dry completely and then heat set the powder. The powder will stick to that embossing paste because it's wet, so you don't have to heat set it straight away. So I'm going to show you this again, but we're going to do it on some coloured cardstock. And instead of using an embossing powder, we'll use an embossing glitter. Now obviously with the embossing paste, if you do not wash your stencils straight away and just leave them to one side on your workspace, the paste is going to dry over your stencil and it could ruin the design of your stencil. You could get embossing paste stuck in some of those holes. Same applies to the spatula. If you don't clean it, then it will get paste stuck on it. If you haven't got time to wash it straight away, just pop it in a sink with some soapy water. Now for this one I said we were going to use some embossing glitter, and this is California Gold. So with embossing glitter, we like to heat set from behind because we want to trap that glitter in the embossing powder before it has a chance to fly away. And if you do that on the top, sometimes it can fly away. Now again, you can either heat set this whilst the embossing paste is still wet, or you can heat set it when the embossing paste is dry. Now if it's dry, it's more likely to have trapped some of that glitter in, but it may not have trapped at all. I always suggest that you would heat set even with the embossing paste from beneath when it comes to embossing glitter. And you will be able to get that heat transfer the card and the embossing paste to that embossing glitter powder to melt and trap your glitter in it. So don't worry about that. Now the last example I'm going to show you, we are going to use translucent sort of matte embossing paste. This is from Renke. I think this is a texture paste. It's very smooth texture. But I'm going to combine it with Wow Embossing Eco Sparkle. So these are eco-friendly glitter. And I'm just mixing it in with translucent paste. Now obviously with the glitter doesn't have any powder. It will not stick to your card unless you either put it over glue, you put it over the bonding powder, or you put it over double-sided tape, or you combine it with a paste like this. Now if you're going to combine it with paste, it's best to combine it with a translucent paste because you'll be able to see the glitter so much more. If I did it with the opaque paste, you would still get the opaque white embossing paste coming through with the glitter sprinkled in it, but you wouldn't see that beautiful colour or that beautiful shine. So always when you're wanting to mix up glitter with a paste, try and look for a translucent paste. Again, just applying that through the stencil, and then the peel and reveal, which we all love, is just stunning. Now you will need to set this one aside to dry naturally. You don't heat set this because there's no powder to melt. You could probably speed up the drying if you use speed 1 on your heat gun, but I would just set it to dry. You can work on your other 2 cards whilst that is drying. Now to finish off these cards, I wanted to create some sentiments using the Love and Hugs fab foilers, and I'm just going through my collection of colours to decide which I was going to use. I did some blush and some gold, but there are a whole rainbow of fab foil colours to choose from. I'm not going to go through the whole process, but I'm just trimming a piece of the blush fab foil down to cover those sentiments. And then I'm going to place this in a carrier sheet and run it through my ink machine on setting 3. You can use a laminator, it works well in a laminator. Just make sure your laminator is heated up for a while and it's good and hot. And then the peel and reveal as we reveal the sentiments as we peel all that foil back. And it's just absolutely stunning. But remember, don't throw away that leftover foil. There's the solid fab foiler panels, which you just place it over and then run it through your machine, and that black toner panel will adhere all of that blush foil. But you can either leave it as black or then cover it with some white fab foil and then turn those black sentiments into white sentiments. So you've got the reverse. So I trimmed some sentiments down from those selections and added them to the cards and then embellished with a selection of sequins. So I really enjoyed playing around with this technique. These are really super simple mixed media cards, but they have such a beautiful modern twist and look to them. So let me know in the comments below which one out of these 3 cards is your favourite, and is this something you think you're going to try in the future? If you're new to the channel, why not think about subscribing? You can hit that bell icon to be notified when a new video is up. For 10% discount at the Wild Embossing Powder shop, just use the code you can see on screen. And until next time, happy crafting!